Hey everybody, so I just finished doing the episode where we learned how to import data into R, and it was kind of a long episode, but I mean, it's long because, like I talked about in that episode, sometimes just getting the dang data into the software is one of the hardest things to do. And so it took a little bit of time to explaining it, but I'm super impatient and super excited because we are so close to doing our first data visualization, like actually seeing what all this work is for. And so I just couldn't wait. So I just stayed in the office and here I am. I'm going to go ahead and we're gonna make our first data visualization. I'm going to try to make this video short, but I want y'all to see what it is you've been working towards so far. So real quick, we talked about how we need to install packages whenever we want to do something that R itself can't do. And so all these open source packages that a lot of cool people, like all the people at over at R Studio, they make all these really awesome packages that can do really cool thing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to download another package, and we're going to use this package all the freaking time, y'all, because it's so cool. It's called Ggplot 2. So remember, we can't just call it into a library because it's not in our library yet. So we have to have an internet connection, and then we have to go up here to Tools. Then Install Packages, Ggplot 2. Click Install. Make sure the dependencies is checked there. All right, package successfully unpacked. Now remember, just because it's installed on our computer now doesn't mean that we've told RStudio that we want to use it in this session of R. So we need to keep our code really neat, and I'm not the best at this either, but we need to go get that package into our library that we're using right now. So I've already imported the data and everything. We did that in the last episode, so if you haven't watched that episode, you need to go get it first. You need to go watch it. So now remember, we need to highlight everything, hit run. All right, now see it's red and warning and everything, but remember, like I said in the last video, just because it's red and says warning, that doesn't mean anything's wrong. Warning really means more of attention. You're using this version. All right, so we already have the data in there, and our data is called my data. Now we want to make our first data visualization. So let's go down here, and we're going to use Ggplot. And so even though it's called Ggplot2, the actual function that we're going to be using is just Ggplot. So let's type Ggplot, and then let's type in open parentheses, but remember it's going to go ahead and close the parentheses for us too. So now the first thing that Ggplot wants to know is, all right, so what data file do I need to go find to use for this visualization, this graph that you're about to make? And we want it to use this data file that we just made right here. So we're going to type my data, and then we're going to type a comma and then a space. And now there's this AES function within Ggplot2. So this isn't the name of a variable or anything else. This is like an argument, is what they call them, that we need to use inside of Ggplot. So basically what we've done is we've told Ggplot that this is the data file we want to use, and now within the data file, what is the actual column that I'm going to be using? And remember, this is the data file. If we highlight this and click run, so this is the data file we have right now. We have all these students, and we have all their grades, and we have which homework that grade is for. So if you scroll down, you can see we have homework 2 and homework 1. And so what we want to do is we want to make a plot of their grades that's called score. So we're telling Ggplot within this data file, we are going to use the argument AES, which is aesthetics. So we get the pop-up, just click on that and see it opens up some new parentheses for us. And now we're going to type score. All right. Now, if we go ahead and highlight that and run it, See, it's not going to give us anything because basically we just told it, hey, Ggplot, we want you to use this variable score, and you can find that variable inside this data set called my data, and we want you to make a plot with it, but we haven't told it what kind of plot we want to make. So to do that, excuse me, basically we need to put a space here and then put a plus sign and now hit enter. And notice how it doesn't go all the way back to the very left. It doesn't go all the way back to the very left because there's a lot of sort of best practice principles for keeping track of your code and and things like that that a lot of data science people have developed over the years. It's just going to be helpful, and you'll learn to appreciate it. That it helps you keep everything in order. So basically, now we're telling it, okay, we want you to make this graph plus we want that graph to be what it calls geom density. So it started to fill it out already. So let's click on that. And so right now we don't even need to put anything in there. We just have to tell it, because we've already told it which variable we want to use and where it can go to find that variable. And now we just had to tell it, what is the kind of the plot. And you don't have to put this down here. You can leave it up here and it'll still work. So you highlight everything and hit run. Now here's your first data science plot. It's kind of ugly, so let's see if we can make it look a little bit better. And also, this is one of the reasons why moving it to the next line is going to be helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and move it back down. I just hit enter. Now let's change the color. So inside here, actually first, we're grading on a scale of 0 to 100, so I would like to know what this distribution looks like on the scale of 100. So what we're going to do is we've already told it that we want to use this data file with this variable to make this kind of plot, and now we want to tell it, you know what, I want you to put that plot, I want you to make the x-axis, so basically the limits of the x-axis, so xlim, all one word, and open your parentheses, and we want it to go from 0 to 100, so 0 comma 100. Alright, now let's highlight everything again, and let's click run. Okay, so this is kind of maybe looks a little bit better. It's still kind of dull. So we see on the x-axis here, it's going from 0 to 100, and these are everybody's grade. This is the distribution of grades, and this should raise a flag for us. Like, why usually grades, they follow sort of a somewhat bell curve sort of distribution. But before we even do that, let's do this. Let's tell it, hey, we want you to go find this data set, and we want you to make a graph of this variable. We want that graph to be a density, which is basically a distribution graph. We want the graph to be on the scale from 0 to 100, the axis to go from 0 to 100. But you know what? We want to see the grades separated by which homework assignment it was, because right now this is just the average of all homework assignments together. So now let's go in here and let's do comma, space, and the word fill. Let's do another space and equals. And remember that other column we have, homework, tells us which homework it is. Let's say we want to separate it by homework. And I know right now it doesn't make sense why fill, the word fill is going to do that, but just trust me for right now. Now let's type HW. And let's highlight this. Click run. Okay, now we're starting to see something. There seems to be sort of some major differences between how homework 2, so you can see homework 2 is the blue, how performance on homework 2 is pretty different from homework 1. So maybe that raises some red flags for us about, maybe something's wrong here. Maybe, you know, you don't know what it is, but at least it kind of lets you start to think about, well, maybe there's some differences between how I'm assigning these homeworks or what the content is of these homework. And real quick before we end, there's also this other um, nifty little thing because it's kind of hard for us to see what's going on behind this homework 2. So because we can't see what homework 1 is doing back behind there. So there's this thing inside geom density called alpha, and we just want to say equal to, basically what alpha is transparency. Like how transparent would you like the colors to be? So we're going to say a 0.5. So this can only be between 0 and 1, okay? That's important to remember. This value has to be between 0 and 1. So now let's highlight this again. Click run. Okay. So, at least now we know that beneath the homework 2, this just didn't skyrocket up and come back down. So, this is kind of pretty. This gives us some information about our classroom performance and how it's changing from homework assignment to homework assignment. There's a lot we can get out of this. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it right now. Um, like I said, I just got so antsy after the last episode that we were so close to getting a data visualization. I wanted to go ahead and get that for y'all so y'all could see what it would look like. Um, I believe in you. You can do this if you really want to do it. Now let's get to work.